trying to get an infant formula to market is extremely complicated. And I'll never forget an investor going, you know what, let's just make toddler formula. And I remember that moment being like, okay, I am again betting on myself, betting on the team, betting on that we can do this. But every day you get to a point and you're being questioned and you have to make a call. So long about way of saying, I question failure every single day.
Hi, I'm Sally Christensen, the founder and CEO of Argent, a women's workwear brand. And this is Work Friends, a podcast for those who take their work, but not always themselves, seriously.
Work Friends.
Today I'm speaking with Laura Modi, the CEO and co-founder of Bobbie, an organic formula company that exists to build a parenting culture of confidence, not comparison. Laura is a mother of 4 and previously worked at Google and Airbnb. The idea for Bobbie first came to mind when she was a first-time parent facing the challenging balance of breastfeeding and finding a healthy formula option for her child. In 2018, she officially set out to launch Bobbie, what's become the only female-founded and mom-led organic infant formula brand in the United States. When the 2022 formula shortage loomed over parents, under Laura's leadership, Bobbie pivoted to ensure that none of their customers had to suffer the consequences. Today, the company continues to prioritize accessibility, both through the production of high-quality products at their first U.S. manufacturing facility and through their philanthropic arm, Bobbie Breasties, which helps mothers affected by breast or gynecologic cancer. There is so much I admire about Laura and everything she's built. I can't wait for you to hear her story. Now on Work Friends, Laura Modi. Laura, welcome.
So thrilled to be here.
I'm so excited that you're here, and we're overdue for a catch-up, so why not do it live and recorded?
Love.
First of all, can we talk about when we met? Do you remember? One of my favorite.
Oh my gosh. That trip.
Okay, it came up last night. We had our launch event with Citizens of Humanity, not to timestamp this, last night, and the number of people that I connected with.
That were on that trip?
Correct. It's such a great group, but you and I met on that trip.
On a plane.
And we met over the jewelry box. The jewelry box.
We did? Where we thought there was diamonds in the jewelry box.
So for anyone who doesn't know, Marie Claire does this incredible trip, Power Women trip. Yes, mm-hmm. And they did this annual trip, and Laura and I both went in 2021 or 2. I don't remember what year it was.
22.
It's very well done. It's like 200 women that you have admired from afar, I feel like, that we got to connect
with.
You can
be best friends with.
Yes. And there are generally like fun takeaways. And there was a jewelry store that had done this like activation at this event. And this is literally where we met, picking up the jewelry box, thinking, oh my God. And it just had, I think, a gift card in it or something. It wasn't even a gift card. It was something.
I think it was a business card.
It was a business card.
Yeah, it was a jewelry box.
Anyway.
But clearly we were tired moms, tired founders. We see jewelry being handed out. We got very excited, and then we opened the jewelry box.
And we cried tears of hilarity.
Yeah, it's very symbolic for many different things in life.
Yeah, I was about to say, it really is. Okay, so welcome to Work Friends.
Thank you.
Very excited to have you here. We like to start with an icebreaker. We want to hear about your biggest oh no moment this week.
This week?
Or, as of late.
What is my biggest oh no moment? I mean, what do I feel like is happening every day? I'm going between personal and professional oh no moments. This is embarrassing. This is really...
That's great. That's what we welcome.
I have 4 children. And I am so into the day-to-day work, I don't see things as days off. Holidays kind of come and go. Mm-hmm. And I forgot it was Easter. Yeah, I forgot it was Easter. I heard my kids wake up on Easter Sunday. I know you're cringing. I know I'm cringing too. Now, I had stuff locked away. I had like little baskets and I had like little things to put together. But I went to bed that Saturday night, totally forgot. And I woke up to little voices on Sunday morning. But do you think you went to the kitchen? I don't know. running to the kitchen. But actually, maybe he went outside. I was like, oh my God, they're looking for the Easter baskets. I was like, I had to get my husband. I was like, we have to strategize. So he went to distract them, and I went to go build little baskets as quickly as possible. I mean, I was throwing in Christmas toys. I mean, whatever I could find to go into these baskets. And I put them into our room that they couldn't see me put it in. And then we turned it into a treasure hunt. They found it. They totally believed it. They thought he was so cheeky putting them in the guest room. And I got through the day.
This speaks to me. The reason I'm laughing is because we didn't put eggs out this year.
Oh, you didn't?
Unintentionally, a little bit. We had baskets and we got invited to this like Easter egg hunt at 3 p.m. And so we just decided not to put
Easter.
eggs out a little bit. But I don't feel great about it, if I'm being honest.
Look, I don't know if I feel great that the Easter Bunny is still a thing, to be honest. Like, I need to retire things on my checklist. But he is a thing, and we saved the day. But we might have to pull your strategy next year.
I don't know. We've got to rethink it, I think. Because the kids are going to get older and I think catch on.
Yeah.
You know, we can still get away with it.
Now I'm thinking, how old is someone watching this, and are we safe with the conversation we just had?
Yeah. We're clear.
Okay, good.
Okay. I want to go back to early days, Laura, and talk about growing up in Ireland, and I want to hear about early examples of work that made an impression on you.
Ooh. Yes. So I grew up in the west of Ireland. Very idyllic. And I never thought I would leave, honestly. I'm the eldest of 5. I'm from an entrepreneurial family. And everything about growing up there just felt like I could see myself do this. I will be in the family business. I will buy a house next to my parents. I will have multiple children. And I just never expected that I'd be raising kids here in America. But it was perfect. It was wonderful. And early Laura looks back. I mean, I look back on those days very, very fondly. And now I'm reaching the point where with my own children, I want them to have parts of what I had growing up. Mm-hmm. So anyway, maybe
Don't
it's a
all?
subtle.
I think we all want that a little bit.
It's a subtle nod to my husband if he's listening. One day we
Is
can
he
be back
Irish?
home. He's not.
Oh,
He's
okay.
from New Jersey.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the most patriotic Americans you will ever meet. So no, we will not be leaving the country.
What was the family business?
We make construction clothing. PPE.
Incredible.
Hey, maybe there's something here.
Incredible. Well, when we started, I used to say workwear, and people assumed that it was.
Oh, of course.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
So
that
they'd
could
be
an
like
SEO problem.
Carhartt or like PPE or like what do you mean by workwear?
Oh my God, I love that you have redefined that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was an intentional choice.
Yeah.
Were you participating in the family business?
So I did. Actually, most of the participation was like at the dinner table. Dad would come home and you would watch the ups and downs of him growing a business. There would be weeks or sometimes months of just pure stress and exhaustion. And you knew what was going on. You know, you knew that he was growing a business and there was troubles with it. Or the days where he would come back after a major launch or a major win or a major acquisition, and it was a high. So I got to experience, I think, the ups and downs of entrepreneurship in a really good way. Mm-hmm. And like truly watch the resiliency of my father. I mean, also my mother, who was raising 5 kids while all of this was happening. It was one of the best learnings. And even down to like the way he would manage the conversation at the dinner table as well. You know, it was... He really brought a business perspective to it. I remember learning about manufacturing efficiency at a young age, supply chain. I went on a trip to China with him one time to learn about fabrics and materials. And then we traveled across Europe and we got to see different manufacturing facilities. Eye-opening.
That's like my dream trip.
Incredible.
What age was this for you?
First one was 13, and then he would rotate us every few years.
It's so funny to hear you say this because we were talking to someone earlier that was talking about this pressure that women feel to be at home with their kids. And in fact, the discovery for her has been taking her kids with her on work trips, and that it's like incredibly valuable, and that they learn a lot by just watching mom and dad work and participating in that journey. So then, okay, you intended to potentially work in the family business and stay in Western Ireland. None of that happened. So How does that happen?
How does
what
that
happened
happen? Yes, I thought I would be making construction clothing.
Yeah.
And PPE. But no, I applied for a job at Google.
Did you go to school?
Business and marketing. Actually,
Where?
fun story. In Dublin.
Okay.
In Ireland. I always wanted to be a dietitian. So I grew up and I thought, I want to be a dietitian. And mostly because I saw huge trends in the space of nutrition. And I was going to the University of Edinburgh, bags packed, totally ready to go. And my dad pulled an intervention. That intervention was, he pulled me aside and he's like, look, I know you. And here's what I believe is happening. You are seeing this huge trend towards nutrition right now. A lot of fad diets. The conversation on dietitians, dietetics, nutrition was huge. And he goes, and I think what you have noticed is you've noticed a trend. And those who see trends and spot trends and jump on them usually have a business spirit to them. So I personally, this was his take. He's like, I think you are more of an entrepreneur than you are in the medical field. I went to bed that night first feeling that like, he doesn't know me. Like, this is what I'm meant to do. I am going. I can't believe he tried to pull this. And then I really listened. And like, not just sort of listened, like I deeply listened. And for about 48 hours, I sat on it. And then I cancelled my flight to Edinburgh and I applied for a business course in Dublin. Totally pulled a pivot.
Incredible confidence, too, at a young age, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, or complete naivety, you know? It was a little bit of both.
Totally.
And I always look back at that moment. And I think that was a really defining moment in me realizing how important it is to deeply listen. And to look at your surroundings, listen to those who really understand you, really know you. You don't always have to follow it, but sometimes you will pick something up that is really important in your next move.
I can hear that advice now. I don't know that 18-year-old me could apply that advice. You know
That's
how
true.
When you're younger,
That is true.
you know everything until you're in your mid to late 20s, and then you realize you know nothing.
Yeah.
That's the
All the
period of
time.
time that's hard to break through. So
it is
kudos
true.
to you and your parents. I think it says a lot about your parents.
It does.
As well.
And he's right. Actually, the other thing he added to it was, the one thing you're going to enjoy about business is like the ups and downs. He's like, the highs are high. Like, they are very high. It's an adrenaline you'll never be able to experience doing anything else. And yes, the lows are low, but they will teach you something. They'll keep you grounded and they'll get you back on the high again. And every day I go through this experience, I always reflect back on that.
We all go through this. And I think it is true of business. I think it's like it amplifies the human experience.
Yeah.
I think there are elements of this in our day-to-day lives, and I think it's true of every industry, but they're especially magnified in extreme in business.
Hear, hear.
All right, so you decided to pursue studying business. What was education? What was that journey like?
Basic course. It was great. Loved going to college in Dublin. I'd recommend it to anyone.
I love Dublin.
Amazing. And tech was on the rise. So, back on the trend, watching where things are going. Google was a very attractive company. And
what year is this?
2007.
Okay, great.
Yeah. And I thought, sure, fuck it. I'll apply for a job at Google. Let's see how this goes. And I got it.
In the States?
So first in Dublin.
Okay.
And then I got transferred over to the U.S.
California?
Mountain View.
Yeah.
Which I thought was San Francisco.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Nope.
No, a little bit different.
The Bay Area.
Yes. And I'd never been to California. Packing my bags. And I thought, this is going to be fabulous. I'm going to go do 1 year in America and experience driving down the 101, all of the dreams that I've been watching growing up on TV. The whole thing just seemed like a dream. Totally surreal. And I landed in Silicon Valley. And I went right in. It was fabulous. The whole thing was incredible. When I say incredible, like, it was, again, going back, it was an adrenaline rush. I was addicted to every part of it. And I stayed at Google for the next 4 years. And again, Google's fabulous. It was incredible. But I actually do remember the point where I started questioning what I wanted to do next. And everyone I had met was very entrepreneurial, extremely entrepreneurial. I always joke, actually, the comparison to Ireland and the US in this situation. You could have turned to someone in Ireland and said to them, it's my dream to go to space. And they would say, get away from yourself. There's no way you're going to space. Like, that's a dream that's never going to happen. In Silicon Valley, you could tell someone this is your dream. They're like, I have a friend. Let me introduce you. I have a book. You should read the book. And they were so encouraging for anything, truly any dream, any move you wanted to make. It was all very supportive. So anyway, I was addicted. I loved it all.
I missed you. I moved to the Bay Area in 2012.
You did?
And we lived there for 7 years.
Yeah.
I worked at Cisco.
Okay.
And it was such a different time in tech, but I remember all of that like so vividly.
Yeah.
It was a really fun time to be there and a great time to learn. And I think it's very entrepreneurial. So like you're surrounded by people that are so hungry and are really innovative and are like pushing boundaries, especially at Google. That's kind of how they hire.
Yeah. I mean, the recruiting process itself was an experience.
Yes.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay.
And then it shows you what the bar is.
Best of the best. Tech, I mean, I worked in supply chain at Cisco, and they're like a Gartner top 10, and it was just invaluable for me. I think there are different paths for entrepreneurs. You can either just start in your college dorm room and you sell a product, you're building something, you start an experience, and you just go and you never pursue formal education, or you come straight out of high school. And then there are people like me who need the experience. So like I wanted to go into corporate America. I wanted the experience of what that was like. I needed like a holistic understanding of how business really works. I got my MBA. Yeah. But I'm an entrepreneur through and through. I just needed that decade of learning.
Yeah. So would you say you got your MBA at Cisco?
Well, I actually got my MBA, but it was linear in my mind, and it's not linear at all. I moved to Chicago out of undergrad. I studied business, got a job in banking at the height of the financial crisis. Ooh. Loved it. I learned so much from that.
What were the years?
2007 to 2010.
Yeah.
And then
wow.
But it was
what an experience.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then got my MBA and then focused on supply chain, moved out to Cisco.
Okay.
And that was sort of like a continuation of learning, and then quit a few years in. But I feel like it's similar because from Google you went to Airbnb, is that right?
From Google I went to Airbnb.
Stayed in San Francisco? Is that
2011? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I moved out of the Mountain View area up to San Francisco, and that was another incredible experience.
Absolutely. I mean, that was like, I imagine, a very exciting time to be at Airbnb.
Sharing economy was booming. All of, the sharing economy companies popping up around it. It was moving away from just the social network platforms to something else. I had used an Airbnb with a friend, and I left that experience. And that visceral feeling of going, there's something really special here. Like really special. It was a little bit of the hospitality Irish blood in me. And staying in someone's home, having my own kitchen, and getting to live like a true New Yorker, which is the first place I got to stay, it blew my mind. And the experience was flawless too, which is another piece of it. To be able to go through an experience so flawlessly, like you're booking a hotel, check in, check out, and I walked away and I was like, I have to work for this company. And at the time, they were still called Air Bed and Breakfast.
Yeah, you joined it ahead of the curve, big time.
It was. I mean, always at the time, you feel like it's already too late. But it was incredible.
Can we talk about that for a second? I mean, even, I have friends that started at Google, I want to say 02, 03. I forget when Google started in 01 maybe.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, wow.
Yes, but then fast forward, I remember graduating from undergrad, same timing as you, and feeling like it was late. You were still so early. I mean, look at where these
companies... In hindsight, you're totally right.
Totally.
Yeah.
But those companies, I mean, I had an offer from Amazon and Cisco, and I liked the opportunity at Cisco more. But now you look at where I potentially would have been with Amazon. It's just really comical. Because I thought it was too late for Amazon in 2012.
And to think, I mean, the way you just... Google's not that old.
No, baby.
It's wild.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think, though, you're pursuing, exciting opportunities. To flip it, I also think you're pursuing learning. That's what I was always pursuing.
Always.
I just don't want to get in a role. I don't want to find myself bored in a role. And I think you can do that within the same company. But I just want to always make sure that I'm pushing myself.
The more and more I go through this, the more I realize that every year I get into it, there's actually more to learn. The aperture just keeps getting wider. And it is what makes it exciting and fresh. The feeling that what's ahead of you, there's way more than what's behind you.
Yeah.
It's great.
What did you do at Airbnb? How'd you get your foot in the door?
I basically said I will take any role. I was an operator through and through. I was like, throw me into any operational needs. I don't know if I actually got a title when I joined. It was like, here's a job. Go take the job. And I think we both grew up at this. You're always like first in the office, last to leave. Mm-hmm. This feeling that like, this is the opportunity I'm going to have. Mm-hmm. I will do whatever it takes. Mm-hmm. You don't really question very much. And I did. And I moved around the business from supporting on customer service, like blowing up that team and really making sure that we were scaling that operation. I moved back to Dublin and I opened up our European headquarters. I came back then to help scale customer service further and opening up call centers. And then I ultimately left as the director of host operations, scaling community, host quality, every part of it.
How long were you there?
Almost 6 years.
Yeah, very millennial, a lot of this. For better and worse. I think we share these qualities. Always the first in the office, last to leave. I'll do anything. I'm above nothing. Yeah. No real boundaries with work.
Well, I mean, that is the issue. Zero boundaries. Like, it was my life. Mm-hmm. I met my husband there at a happy hour. So it was your life. And obviously, I credit so many different things to where I am today with it. But yeah, I think going back, I think there could have been some boundaries. Yeah.
And then from these roles, like, how are they preparing you for Bobbie and starting your own company? And are you even thinking about that at the time?
No, it's a great question. I'm curious to get your epiphany as well. I knew I wanted to start something. I think there was always something in me. I will start a company. I have that entrepreneurial spirit. I explored many different ideas on the back of envelopes. And it wasn't until I had my daughter. And it was in that moment where I was living life with her, specifically going to breastfeed her and realizing that expectations didn't match reality. And every time I reflect back on this story, I think about the visceral feelings that I went through in that first year. Honestly, even just the first 2 months of having her. Guilt, shame, embarrassment, like curiosity. I went down a mini PhD. I found myself Googling at 2 a.m. in the morning going, what am I feeding her? Why these ingredients? Why hasn't it changed? Why is it that 2 companies own this entire industry? Why hasn't anyone done this before? And the more and more I dug, it was a realization that, like, I actually wanted to play a role in changing this.
Can you expand a bit more on your feelings, like where they came from?
The feelings.
Yeah, like your guilt and shame and all these things, and how the experience didn't match reality.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was way more than like Irish Catholic guilt. Mm-hmm. Now that I reflect, I just assumed I would breastfeed. Mm-hmm. So many women over the years that I've spoken to have articulated so clearly that they never even considered infant formula. The word infant formula was not part of a conversation with their significant other. It wasn't something they were researching when they created those checklists or the spreadsheets, of everything you needed to buy.
Yeah.
It wasn't on the list.
Yeah.
And this was like, almost 10 years ago. People weren't even having the conversation with their friends. So your friends or your significant or your cousins or those around you who were feeding babies, they were not opening up and saying, oh, I can't breastfeed, so I'm feeding my baby formula. So I think the guilt is all internal, starting with internal, because you feel guilty that you can't do what you expected to deliver on. Mm-hmm. And you go through life and you assume, if I want to breastfeed, I will be able to breastfeed. And as you're staying so incredibly healthy throughout the entire pregnancy, and then you go in and you think, the skies are going to open up. I'm going to put her to my chest and she's going to latch perfectly and it's going to be beautiful. And then when that experience doesn't happen...
just to take
the whole thing is going to be
beautiful.
That's
comical just because motherhood and like early weeks of motherhood are just so tragic. And no one talks about it. It's okay, sorry, continue. And how
that
the skies
feeling
are going to open up, it's going to be beautiful and so magical. It's like,
totally.
No.
And now a lot of the advice I give is like, a lot of it just, the conversation is more important than anything. Mm-hmm. Allow someone to go into it having some understanding of the reality. Because when expectations don't match reality, you're disappointed. When expectations maybe exceed it or match it, great, you get what you're given. Mm-hmm. So disappointment was something I just held for the entire year. So many things in life I was able to check off a list. If I want to do it, I can do it. If I put the work in, I can do it. If I try, I can do it. This was something that no matter how hard I tried, I anatomically was not able to exclusively breastfeed my daughter. And that just left me riddled with this guilt.
One example of a billion of the experiences that women have that men do not have, and why it's so important to have us at the table and to make sure that we support moms when they're going on whatever journey they go on, because it's different for all of us. How we respond to having children is different. Some want to race out of the house and escape, and some want to stay there for a year or forever, you know, and that's all fine. But all of these like societal, I don't know, we just carry so much that it's so unfair. And I feel like we do carry the guilt and the burden when in fact it's like, oh, no, we have these superpowers. We are responsible for everyone who's walking around. You're welcome. Yeah. You know, let's like rebrand it. What are we doing?
Here. Yes.
Yeah. But I'm just sorry that you had to go through that. I'm sorry that we all have to like go on our own journeys. And I am feeling like the work that you're doing, the conversations that you have, you know, opened up for people, like it's so invaluable because it's about conversation and about sort of reclaiming the power, I think.
It is. Reclaiming the power is a beautiful way to put it. And look, we have a million things to deal with as parents. Like, you know, this is just one of many, many different things. But the fact that the guilt or the judgment, and again, internal for the most part, of how you're feeding your baby consumes you during one of the most joyous times in your life, when you should be focused on 101 other things. So the way I see it is, if we can remove this burden, if we can change the conversation just enough so that that mom is getting another hour's sleep because it's not in the back of her mind, or that she can just feel a little mentally clearer or better because she's okay with the way she feeds. And by the way, the same goes for someone who also wants to exclusively breastfeed, right? You swing the pendulum, there's also that feeling of, well, maybe I should get back to work, or maybe I should be spending more time with my significant other or my other kids. Maybe I'm spending too much time doing this. That's another conversation to be had. And at the end of the day, it's not about removing the stigma on formula. It's about removing it for how we choose to feed our babies.
Yes.
No matter how you choose.
Yep.
End it. End the feeding wars.
The newest pieces from Argent are the ultimate pairing of work and play. Our signature chic tailoring comes alive in lemon yellow, I'm wearing it now, and grass green, which might be my season's favorite. Plus, airy summer dresses serve as the perfect transitional staples, going from desk to dinner, work week to weekend, truly wherever your summer plans take you. As always, Argent fabrics are the biggest game changer in premium Italian seasonless wool, lightweight linen, and 100% cotton to ensure you feel as amazing and confident as you look. Shop all the latest arrivals, including the look seen on Work Friends at argentwork.com. And so, you know, you want to start a company, you have your daughter, you enter opportunity from experience. And I assume you're still working at Airbnb?
Still working at Airbnb. The epiphanies are hitting. I was going to ask the question. I was like, okay, so you walked out of the pharmacy. There was a problem with the formula. You decided to start Bobbie. No, I didn't. I went home. I fed her. I spent a year researching it. I, lost 40 pounds and my identity came back. It was like clarity for the fact that I got to the end of that year and I graduated her on this feeding journey, and I graduated myself for what an amazing milestone I got to. And I was like, okay, great. I'm not going to have another baby until there's a better formula on the market.
That's pretty incredible.
So,
and how was work? How was your leave situation?
Leave at Airbnb was great. I had 4 months fully paid. And I enjoyed every second of it. And I go back now and I think about that first time having a baby, especially the first time. You don't know who you are. Everything about what you're going through physically, emotionally is, I don't know, it's wild. It's animalistic.
I remember.
It's crazy.
I had Charlie in like week 1. I was like, I never want to be in society again. I just want to be with this baby. This is like all I want. And then fast forward like a few months and you're like, what was I thinking? But you are so like, you're in the new reality for a bit, you know?
You're rediscovering yourself, your new life. There's a lot of education you're going through in that time. And then also, we don't talk about this enough, for those first few weeks, you're on medical leave. Like, this isn't maternity leave where you're just bonding with your child. You are medically recovering from giving birth. And again, that physical recovery. Anyway, I am so grateful. And it's one of those things that, look, I mean, obviously, we could spend another entire podcast talking about what the US needs to do to support at a federal level. But I feel so grateful that I was able to get that time.
And yeah, you're playing a role in solving a lot of issues around the challenges that moms and dads face. So let's talk about
the conflict there.
Well, and what gave you the confidence? Like, what was the well, we know the catalyst, but what was sort of that moment that you said, okay, I'm going to quit and go pursue this?
I peed on a stick and found out I was pregnant with my second kid. And there it was. I mean, there's nothing more motivating than realizing that, one, you have a ticking time bomb. You're like, okay, I have a few months to be able to figure this out. And I want to have something better in the market by the time this baby comes along.
And talk about what was in the market.
Okay, so this was, both the mom hat realizing that I wanted something better, but the business side of me was questioning, why was there only two players that dominated 90% of the market? It was essentially a duopoly. And why is it that those are the two players that haven't changed in 40 years, and the same formula that I probably consumed as a child is the same formula I'm feeding my baby? But yet, if I go to the store and I pick up a granola bar, if I pick up any other pantry product, there's been fundamental change to the ingredients, to the brands, to the storytelling, even the way you could purchase it. But I'm still walking into the middle aisle of a pharmacy, and I'm picking this off a shelf. Actually, no, that's not true. I had to ring the shame bell. You know, the little pharmacy shame bell? Help on aisle, infant formula aisle. And you're like, great. Could this experience not be better? Of course it can, because this is food, but yet I'm walking into a medical experience because I'm unable to feed her myself. We need to change the narrative. So the business woman in me saw the bigger opportunity. And look, this is also one of those products that after spending years working in the tech space, which I absolutely adored and I learned a million things there, as a mother now, I was born an activist. And everywhere I turned, I wanted to work. I wanted to spend my days. If I wasn't with her, I wanted to spend my hours and days bettering the world for her, bettering the world for future kids, for future parents. And if you're going to work 14-hour days, you might as well do something impactful. And that was the feeling. I was like, I want to truly spend every hour working on this.
Was it daunting at all? I mean, that's a huge category to take on. Was there anything that gave you pause, or was it that pie in the sky confidence that very much exists within the tech ecosystem of like, if all of these people can do whatever it is that they're doing, why not me? And there's a better way.
I believe every entrepreneur is a mix of a million recipe factors that go into why they end up doing it. And for me, it was the fact that Airbnb kind of paved the way for being able to disrupt a stagnant, archaic industry.
When you were surrounded by that, you've got Uber, you've got Lyft, you've got Airbnb.
Totally.
I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on.
They didn't look at the hotel industry, the hospitality industry as a burden. They saw it as a huge opportunity. And I remember being in the rooms with all of these disruptors, very bold entrepreneurs, questioning the status quo. And yes, the first time you experience it, you're like, well, it is the way it is. And by the third or fourth time you're hearing the question get asked, you're like, actually, no, it doesn't have to be that way. So that experience was eye-opening. Obviously, growing up in an entrepreneurial family, you build a resiliency and you can see what it takes. And then I think there was a little ounce of naivety. And I love the ounce of naivety.
Gotta have it. An ounce is generous.
Several ounces.
Yeah,
a good gallon.
I had a full gallon, I think.
Full gallon. And, it's like even now, I find it several years into the company, I find myself, again, pie in the sky, great, something massive we could take on. And I have to go back into that naivety space. And I find myself trying to spend time on the vision and the opportunity more, but not get into the weeds of all of the little details. Take the first few steps, see how it goes. And when you get there and you learn something, great, then take the next few steps.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had stopped and answered everything needed to make this happen, I never would have gotten started. There's no way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that resonates.
The FDA alone probably would have stopped me.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, that's where I just quit my job without knowing anything. The thing that we share is that neither of us were experts in what we were going out to solve. A huge part of the naivete is just lies, I think, is within that, alone, where it's like, I don't know anything about apparel, but I can figure it out.
Yeah.
I it's worked in my favor because I think it's easier to challenge why things are done the way they are when you're outside looking in. Yeah. But there's also a lot of learning that needs to happen where there is some rhyme or reason to it sometimes, And
the one other thing I'll add is when you have that naivety, then you have the self-awareness for what those gaps are. And that's another piece of it. This is not like you just dive in and you build a smart and sustainable business by just saying, oh, this is what it is. No, I wasn't a scientist, so I wasn't going to go out and create a formula blindly. I picked up the phone. I called a scientist. I pulled them in. Mm-hmm. I called a regulatory expert, pulled them in. So the self-awareness in that moment and allowing yourself to be the bold person questioning everything, but then filling the gaps with everything else that's needed. It's great.
Knowing what you don't know.
Yes.
Yes, there's a lot of power in that. And what were some of the hard lessons that you had to go through? Early days. Not
Bobbie?
Yeah.
Whew. Where to start? I think some of the hard lessons, actually, what you just said really hits on it. I came in as a disruptor. And yes, I think a lot of this came from Airbnb confidence. And as I started hitting a few roadblocks, whether it was with industry leaders, lawyers, the FDA, manufacturing, because I was trying to take a very disruptive approach, I remember taking a step back and being like, hold on a second, Laura. You can be disruptive, but you also have to remember you're entering their industry. Mm-hmm. You will gain the permission and even the confidence to disrupt as you move on, but you do have to acknowledge that you're entering someone else's industry. And maybe early on, I didn't fully embrace that.
So this might be getting into the weeds a little bit, but I mean, we're talking about babies and food, and we've mentioned FDA. How strenuous is the process of going through FDA approval? Mm-hmm. And that has to be a huge part of the naivete in this.
Extremely strenuous.
And how stressful is that? Because you're a disruptor and an innovator. I mean, those don't really go hand in hand with the bureaucracy and the red tape of the FDA.
No, at all.
How do you handle that? And I think what's exciting about what you've done is the brand itself is such an unlock. And I know that was part of your vision.
Yeah.
That's such a gift to women, is like rebranding the entire experience, how we think about it, how we talk about it, how we speak to it. So there is so much I imagine you can be doing while you're going through this years-long process. But can you just educate us a little bit on what that was like?
I'll say this. I think most people who start a company, they create this massive vision. And it takes several iterations to continue to get closer and closer and closer and closer to that vision. Mm-hmm. I just love watching you nod to this. Yes. But it's also the desire for constant perfection and constant iterations and constant betterness. So I will always say that we have the best products on the market, and I want them to be better. And I one day want them to look like A, B, and C. Mm-hmm. So I go back to my very first, pen to paper on this. I'm still not where I want my dream formulation to be. And yet we have made massive leaps ahead of all of the incumbents and where the industry is at. But I won't stop until we get closer and closer to that vision. But to your question on FDA, a lot of that was because of the guardrails put in place. Mm-hmm. And you're looking at this going, I could spend the next 10, 15 years behind the scenes working towards that vision, or I can take step one, put something into market as a first iteration that is already better than everything else in the market.
Yeah.
And then while it's there, what we're going to do, we're going to get back into the lab, we're going to work on the next iteration. And then we're going to put something out again a year and a half later. So we actually launched our fourth baby in April. She is an organic whole milk infant formula. And she, again, is moving the needle. And I am besotted and endlessly proud. It literally, I mean, I've also had my fourth baby. And I'm pacing like the products to the babies on this. And it just feels like such a milestone.
It's funny. I just saw someone last night that articulated my experience at Argent this way, and it's very similar to what you're saying, where I said, you've seen a lot of changes since I started. It's been 10 years, as I mentioned. And she said, yes. And I would say that in the past few years, the offering finally matches your vision. Which is like, because I was saying how happy I am.
That is such an accomplishment.
It was like, I was just mentioning how like fulfilled I am with what we're doing, how much joy I'm finding, and like the women that we're dressing, and all of these opportunities that we have. And it's been a journey. Like it is founders go on these journeys that we can't even articulate because part of our magic is that we don't think about it. You know, we don't get stuck in all of our failures.
No, you just keep going.
Correct. And you keep improving. Yes. And incremental improvement is everything. And we're already solving this white space and solving a problem, but we're going to continue improving on our solution. So, I mean, that speaks to me. Were there any moments where you felt as if you were failing?
Every day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I really mean this, like every day, whether it's, you know, you're being questioned on, you know, the chosen path you want to go down by investors. I mean, there was a day, remember early on, where trying to get an infant formula to market is extremely complicated. And I'll never forget an investor going, you know what, let's just make toddler formula. And I remember that moment being like, okay, I am again betting on myself, betting on the team, betting on that we can do this. And you're putting in another few years of work to make sure you can do it. But every day you get to a point and you're being questioned. And sometimes those questions are massive one-way doors or pivots that could happen to your company. And you have to make a call. So long about way of saying, I question failure every single day.
Yeah, it's part of the journey.
It is.
Yeah. I want to hear about the formula shortage of 2022 because that was a pivotal moment for Bobbie. And I remember watching it from, because we've now known each other we met before this.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So watching you navigate this was inspiring. There was a lot of fear around the country, about having access to an essential product, something that you are feeding the most important thing in your world. And you all made the decision to close your subscription services. I mean, can you just talk us through what that looked like, how you navigated that, how heavy of a burden that was?
So there was a national recall of one of the duopoly products. Mm-hmm. And this recall was very significant, probably one of the most significant infant formula recalls of our time. They had to close one of their facilities. And one of these facilities made 38% of the US supply of infant formula. Now, when you are an operator and you're in the industry, all it takes is reading that one press release about this, and you can immediately do the mental forecasting and assessment on what this means. I remember turning to the team, and it was like, this is big. And what we have to be careful of, even though we are competitors in the space, and this is also an opening and an opportunity for us to grow, there's a few things we have to take into account. One, parents are scared. This is a product and it's a brand that they've trusted and they've relied on. They're driving state to state. And in many cases, low-income families were relying on this as their only WIC option that they had available to them. I think about the emotions that parents went through. But what was also so beautiful is most of our team had a baby under one. or they had a baby year before that, or, a few years before that. They were able to put themselves in parents' shoes and go through the emotions of what that time must have felt like. Now, on the business side, outside of the emotional piece of it, we saw our customer count double overnight.
Yeah, of course.
And we were in market for 12 months. And you're a D2C platform, so you're watching the customer count go up, and there's celebrations. We're able to help these parents. The growth is climbing. And then my head of growth said, Laura, we've got one major problem. We are depleting inventory faster than our ability to replenish. She's like, okay, well, what's the problem with that? She's like, well, the problem is that we are bringing in thousands of subscribers to our business, and they will expect a shipment next month or 2 months down the road. Now, we had a warehouse full of product, but let's just say we got to a place where we could no longer produce any more product, then we would be using the safety stock that those subscribers who signed up yesterday or a week before, a month before that, relied on us for. So she said, we have 48 hours to make a call. If we keep growing this way, that we're going to be using our safety stock. That should be a guarantee for these current subscribers. And we didn't wait 48 hours. I woke up the next morning and I said, turn off the website. We will always choose our customers over growth. And we had no idea how long the shortage would last. No one did. And I remember pulling an emergency board meeting and saying, this is what we're going to do. We're going to turn off our storefront, and we're going to give our several thousand subscribers at the time a promise, a guarantee that we will never run out of product on them. And a lot of debate, Sally. I mean, there was a lot of, but you don't actually know how long this is going to last, or, let's maybe do it for a week, but we'll turn it back on.
From the team or from external advisors?
External, a lot of external voices. And to be fair, like now in hindsight, it seems like the obvious move. But at the time, you don't know how long it's going to last. And you're a fast-growing company. Should you not be riding this wave? But we turned it off for 7 months of 2022. And I'll never forget sending that email to our subscribers and giving them the guarantee and the promise that we won't run out. I mean, we read those love letters out every so often. The responses of gratitude and peace of mind. It's the loyalty that just keeps paying off.
Well, and your ops business mind kicks into high gear, I'd imagine, where it's how do I ensure that I do have the supply to match the demand that we're seeing and that we have the potential for. It is, just to put the founder hat on, the dream situation of I have too much demand.
Yes, always.
So what did you do with that? And I believe the news is you bought a factory.
Yeah. So, okay. So 2 things were born from this. Yes, we bought a factory. That's true. 2 things were born from this. The first was we were all born activists in that moment.
Yeah. Yes.
And we were looking at a crisis where America could not feed babies. I mean, the president of the United States was on the news every day saying what the status was on flying infant formula in from overseas using military flights to stock shelves with milk. Think how crazy that is. We're America. We should be able to make our babies food here in this country and reliably be able to feed them. So I remember like sitting up straight in that moment and being like, guys, this is our industry. And it's not like there's another 10, 15 other players. We got into this to disrupt infant formula, and now the industry is being disrupted itself.
Well, and there's no greater validation than this experience.
No.
There is a shortage. There is a shortage for formula, period, let alone making it with the integrity that you all are.
Correct.
So
we created Bobbie for Change. This is our .org arm of the business. Most companies don't get into their philanthropy side until they're decades into running a profitable company. But we were 14 months in, and we were right in the center of a national crisis, sitting at the table with lawmakers talking about how we shape a resilient industry. And I think it was a big wake-up call to how symbolic, truly symbolic, infant formula is for all of the things we experience as women, as parents, from nutrition to equality to health. I mean, you name it, paid federal leave. So what ended up happening was we created this arm of the business to support in this moment. And over the years, I mean, you've seen this, we put up our hand and we support for any crisis that we feel impacts our customers. Mm-hmm. And we're there for them.
But it is the beauty of your vision. It is what's funny, because we're making apparel, but it's not dissimilar from what I saw, which was an opportunity to pursue gender equity through solving a very real pain point, which is the clothing. It's like, how do I save women time and like the headache of just having to find something that makes them feel great and gives them confidence? The idea of the brand and a brand centered on working women excited me endlessly, because I just feel like we can do so much with that. And I actually think Bobbie is a great example of a company that's solving a very real problem, but also using your platform to do so much like good in the world.
Yes.
And that's the part that I think really, because I'm also an activist. This is truly my like Trojan horse for gender equity. And so there are a lot of parallels, I think, to like even just starting or like wanting to pursue this. The fuel for me is that it's like watching women navigate life differently because we're solving one pain point for them and you're solving another pain point. And then, you know, we're able to like continue building the impact that we can have because we're growing our companies and our top line and our bottom line, you know,
and shaping society.
Yes.
While we get to do it. And that is, I would not have gotten into this if it was about putting out just a better milk.
Yeah.
Changing the conversation that surrounds the product, up-leveling the nutritional standards, not just for Bobbie, but the fact that we actually get to change and play a role in changing nutritional standards for all infant formula, which means all babies, is such an honor.
Yeah.
And that is the legacy, you know, to be able to look back and say, babies, all babies have access to high-quality nutrition. And that should just be a given.
And female founded, not for nothing, you know, like that's really important, I think. Like your team's experiences are very much shaping what you're building and what that looks like and redefining what leadership and power should and can look like.
Yeah, I mean, back to the shortage. Being able to put on my own, like the mother's hat and take off the CEO hat. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was trying to imagine what it would be like if I was a subscriber, I signed up for a company who told me that they could feed my baby. They love the product. They're taking it down. And then one day you email me and say you can't give it? No, that's unacceptable. Mm-hmm. It's not a piece of furniture. Like this is, you need to reliably deliver this product. And at the end of that shortage, we became the only infant formula company that could reliably serve all of its existing customers. And that's the badge of honor, not the growth, not the numbers.
Yeah.
It's being able to get people through an extraordinarily tough time.
I imagine you personally grew so much during those years too.
And the confidence, you know, that how to use your gut, obviously coupled with a lot of your natural intuition for many other business things. But my voice became louder and more confident in that moment. And I also learned the importance of speed and meeting the moment that's needed. Mm-hmm. You could vet something all day, every day. And I think it is one thing when I think about my team, world's best team, they're incredible. Mm-hmm. Their ability to move quickly and adjust because the world will dictate what you work on, not your roadmap. And I see that every single day. If there's a natural disaster, our roadmap is changing. If there's babies in need, our roadmap is changing. If America can't feed babies, our roadmap is changing. And that is, it's built into our DNA.
That's why I think small businesses or new businesses are so important too, because we are, especially founder-led businesses, we are, especially like in the last decade, think about all of the things that we've seen that in any risk mitigation plan you couldn't have even considered. And now we're having to just we're built for the flexibility and the ability to pivot and like really, really hyper-focused on how do we ensure, and it's most critical for your business of most businesses. But I think that speaks volumes to like who you are as well. I want to talk about your marketing a little bit more. So first of all, I want to talk about the first breastfeeding billboard in Times Square.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, which is right outside. I mean, it's probably right outside the window if we were to open it up. But it was Molly Bass.
Yes.
First of all, like, I just love seeing representation. Was there any pushback with that? Were there any like societal hurdles?
About her breastfeeding?
Putting up a public... Because they're challenging. I know on like social media, it's so challenging. It feels like it is still challenging when it shouldn't be. We're normalizing all these things, but are we? You know.
Maybe the reason I'm hesitating is I think from day one we've always pushed the mark.
Yes.
And it's always created some level of conversation as to the appropriateness of it. But it has started the conversation. But what was so beautiful about Molly Baz was that like 70% of parents are combo feeding, but yet we live in a world where there's an assumption that you're either breastfeeding or you're formula feeding. So being able to show that actually you can do both, and that is a normal part of life, and the reality is most people are doing it. And I don't see Bobbie being like any of the previous infant formula companies. We want to see breastfeeding rates increase. I want to see paid federal leave gets passed so that moms can spend more time being able to be at home so that if they want to breastfeed, they're able to. I believe there needs to be way more support. I mean, we could go down a rabbit hole on this. There is not at all enough support when it comes to mothers being able to breastfeed their babies. So when Molly said that she was combo feeding and she was using Bobbie, it was an immediate thing to say, well, why would she be up on the billboard if she's actually combo feeding, just bottle feeding, when we have an opportunity to put her up there breastfeeding? And sure, a bottle can be in it as well because that's what she's doing. But, it was so
brilliant.
Beautiful. It was so
brilliant.
Beautiful.
I'm going to switch gears into some. You've mentioned in the past that there are misconceptions around working in this category.
Yes.
That it's soft work, if you will, where it's not as serious because it's centered on babies. But to me, as like a business person, I feel like it's a very exciting opportunity. Strip away the fact that I love the brand and I love the impact that you're having. There is like very clear white space, and you're having an impact. Like, it's just
you get to do both.
You get to do all of it. But what have you learned that you think every founder should know from, I guess, the way people have reacted to you going after this category and not taking it as seriously as maybe they would if it was like tech or AI or whatever category?
Okay, let's remember the experience that we have on the forefront is one thing. But like, let's go behind the brand for a second. I manufacture infant formula in the heartland of this country. I am in my manufacturing facility and I'm watching the quality, the safety, the rigor. I am watching our beautiful labor and workforce that wake up at the crack of dawn every day to go in to make sure that we are making the safest product on the market that is fed to the most vulnerable audience as their sole nutrition. That is hard. That is hard work. This is manufacturing the hardest product. And by the way, there's zero room for error. Like, the question of like getting something wrong isn't even in the room. You can't. So yes, I don't believe that our customer on the forefront should feel that pain, but I want them to know that we lose sleep over this so they don't have to. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of sleep lost over it because we are making an extraordinarily hard and important product.
Yes. But it sounds as if you've had, this is just from research that we've done, but it sounds as if you've not been taken as seriously potentially with fundraising, or like, are there places where this manifests that it's frustrating?
We've clearly have chatted over a drink on this.
Yeah, well, you just mentioned things.
I mean, absolutely. I have walked into many a room or many an interview where the tone to the questions being used are aw and cute.
Yes.
And isn't that nice?
Yes.
What a great project you're working on.
Yep.
And God, Sally, it only fuels me more.
Same.
It is It is so important for us to get this right. And I am totally fine with someone seeing this as cute and sweet and a project, because it is. It does fuel me. But it's so much more than that.
I do want to hear about Bobbie buying a factory. Again, something that I got to witness from afar and really loved watching. And I think I saw you a couple of times when you were on this journey. But talk about, I mean, whose idea is this? It's a huge business decision. And how's that coming to fruition now? Like, are you seeing the benefits of that decision now?
To answer your last question, absolutely. It takes time. So we've had it for 2 years, but I'll tell you the journey for it. Starting Bobbie, I was very adamant I didn't need to own manufacturing. I mean, so adamant. It was like 4th page, on my pitch deck. I would tell every second person, no, this is about a quality product. It's also about the brand, but I don't need the overhead. I don't actually need to be physically making the product. And then fast forward to realizing that I was probably one phone call away from not having control over my own destiny. I completely pulled a 180 on this. And I called one of my main investors and I said, look, I know I said this, but that's not true anymore. And here are all the factors that have changed between when I said that one time and now I've changed my mind. And the factors had changed. The environment had changed. Bobbie's position had changed. And the biggest part of it is our opportunity for the future was so clear. So clear. So it became like this project where I would wake up every night going, I need to own my own destiny. I need to own manufacturing. And obviously then it's, you're down the process. Do you build? Do you buy? Do you partner? What does it look like? And we ultimately purchased a manufacturing facility that we took kind of to the final mile of building it out, getting the FDA approval, and getting our baby into market probably, 13 months later.
It's one of my favorite things about you.
Oh.
I love a lot of things about you, but the fact that you just went out and bought a factory is really a good flex.
Going back, you started this conversation about growing up in the family business. I mean, we had manufacturers everywhere. Every few months that went by, we would be investing or building out another facility. And part of the pain point for why I didn't really want to is that I saw the challenges of that. I would hear my dad use phrases like, you need to sweat the assets, which was, basically saying you need to get efficiencies from this facility, otherwise it's not going to return. And I saw the requirements of that working, decided it wasn't for me, and then coming full circle to realize I've reached that beautiful tipping point in my business where actually I need it.
It's the naivete that we start with.
There you go.
I think it's like the way we protect ourselves and insulate ourselves from all of the work, not being overwhelmed. And so, okay, let me do all of the things that I can do up until the point where I need to buy the factory, but I'm not going to even consider that.
Ever. And here we are, again, ability to be able to manufacture our infant formula here in the US and be able to meet global high quality infant formula standards, knowing that I have the resiliency that if there's ever another shortage, I can make this product here at home and I have full control over it.
So awesome.
It's beautiful.
Before we go, I do want to ask for some advice. What would you tell someone who looks to what you've built at Bobbie and aspires to do something similar? Not necessarily the exact category, but starting something disruptive.
You know what? Going back to everything we
don't
talked about.
do it. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Don't do it. Stop now. Save yourself. I think it's self-awareness. And I think the self-awareness with an ounce of naivety is just critical to be able to take the next steps. Know what you get into. Study the market. Realize you're entering someone else's industry. Be bold and confident enough. Take that ounce of naivety with it, but take the leap. Just take the leap.
What's the most you could lose? I feel like that's really,
What is the most you could lose?
You'll learn.
Yeah.
First of all, thank you for being here. But before you go, we do have a closing segment of Would You Rather. It's a quick game of rapid fire questions.
Cheeky.
My favorite part of the interview. Would you rather go back to school to learn a new skill or teach what you know to a class of newcomers?
Go back to school.
Same. Would you rather burn the midnight oil or start your day before sunrise?
Burn the midnight oil.
Would you rather only answer emails with emojis or only answer calls on FaceTime?
Calls on FaceTime, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I know.
Would you rather write a great piece of feedback or receive a great piece of feedback?
Receive.
Would you rather dress up or dress down for work?
You know, I'm going to say dress up.
Do you feel like it's a trick question because I'm asking
No,
you?
I don't actually. I feel like I'm entering that next era of my life.
I love
Yes.
that. I've always been a dress up. Would you rather accidentally leave your mic unmuted or your camera on?
Jesus. Camera on.
Would you rather start a business in the early aughts or in the present day?
Present day.
Oh, wow.
Uh-huh.
That is different.
It is.
And with that,
Close her out.
we're going to call it a wrap. Thank you so much for being here.
This was so fun.
Thank you for all your support over the years, and just thank you for all of your activism. It's fun to just watch you continue to break barriers.
Vice versa.
Thanks for listening to Work Friends, a podcast from Argent. Listen and follow on all podcast platforms and subscribe to the Argent YouTube channel for more clips and bonus content. Plus, email your work questions and dilemmas at workfriends@argentwork.com for a chance to have one of our amazing guests weigh in with advice. I'm Sally Christensen, and we'll see you next time.
Work Friends.
Work Friends is produced by Gina Marinelli with editing by Ryan Woldoff. Our theme music is by Karina DePiano and Melanie Naima. This episode was recorded at Podstream Studios in New York, New York.